Hello guys, welcome back to Shoot Your Shot. I'm Georgia.
I'm Claire.
And today we have
the one and only
the legend
Sam Newton.
Woo!
Oh, the crowd goes crazy. Shoot your shot. Shoot your shot. We really do need like a little buzzer that like does like
yeah,
a
or
little
like
soundboard,
or like
mixer.
a fake like clap, like
yeah.
But no, we're super excited to have Sam on. He is a full-time travel filmmaker, an overall just legend, creative inspiration. Like, you are amazing. I'm already hyping him up.
Thank you.
And yeah, you're also a friend, so welcome and thank you for being on our podcast.
Yeah, we're
Makes
stoked.
it easy. I'm stoked to be here.
We are excited.
Yes. So I think today we really want to dive in with Sam on your personal brand, because you have a very successful personal brand and it's helped you kind of get to where you are right now in the creative world.
So before we get into like who you are, your success,
before it gets
all
a little
that good
serious,
stuff, we need to do the two truths and a lie, where this is a moment for you to flex your accomplishments, but simultaneously try to stump us.
Yes.
So give us two truths, one lie.
All right.
All three things that you've done, accomplished, that you're proud of in your career, and one of them is a lie. We have to guess which one is a lie.
Okay, all right. I
but
got
don't tell us.
Yeah.
Let's see. I have to see. I told Claire right at the beginning of this. I'm like, they sent over this whole thing for prep, and I'm like, I don't like looking over those kind of things because I like to just go in and not have to think about this. And then you hit me with this. I'm like, oh shit, no, I have to really.
It's okay. And just to review, because we did this
Yeah,
with Jay.
I was just gonna say.
He could not figure it out. We were like, two truths and a lie. And he gave us three truths.
And then he did it again, and he gave us two lies.
Two lies. And we're like, this guy doesn't understand how it works.
Yeah,
So two truths and one lie.
Two truths and one lie.
Okay.
All right, I can do this. All right, in college, the very first like big deal video I ever made was a random like brand deal video in San Francisco with John Stamos. And I was like a 22-year-old that went out to San Francisco.
Like Uncle Jesse?
Like Uncle Jesse John Stamos. It was, and I didn't know. I can't get to. I'm bad at this game.
Why are people bad at this?
All right,
Oh,
moving
let's
on.
do-
Keep going.
When I was like very close to being robbed when I was in Kenya, and I had to kind of peel away. In Kenya, they don't have like numbers for their apartment complexes.
Okay.
And I had to like peel away and talk to a guard and pretend that I lived in the apartment complex, because my apartment, the Airbnb, was like a couple blocks down the road.
Okay.
And these two guys were like, it was 1 a.m. and these two guys were walking up to me and they're like, hey brother, what's up? Are you like, you're not from around here? I'm like, no. And one was in front of me and one was from behind me. And it was the word, and I couldn't like get around. I had all my shit and I had to peel off, and there was a apartment complex right around the corner or like across the street, and I had to look over and like kind of run. I'm like weaseling my way, and they crossed the street with me, and I like waved the guard down and he came over. I'm like, this is where I live. And he's like, get out of here, and he shooed them away. And I've never been more scared in my life.
This is the most complex two people lie we've
and then-
ever done.
I was gonna say, I
That was
like
the
this
most
detail,
I've
though.
ever heard in my life.
But this is good
This
because
is
He's
story
just like,
time.
I shot a campaign for Nike. Sam's like a
I just
2-hour
have to be,
tangent
I
on
have
how
to be
he gets
convincing enough.
robbed.
And then, yeah, I could have just said I was almost robbed in Kenya, but you gotta have the
no,
details.
this is good because it's gonna trick us. You're giving
And
us
then
detail.
my third truth or lie would be that when I was 22, I played the Chainsmokers in beer pong and I won.
Ooh.
Okay. I think the second one's a lie.
I don't know. I feel like
But
you.
the third one also could be a lie.
No. I feel like the third one's definitely true. I'm gonna go with the Uncle Jesse one.
I don't even know who that is, so
You don't know who
From Full House?
From Full House.
I've never watched that. I don't know. I have no idea.
Stamos?
You've never watched Full House?
Half your audience just clicked away from the
I'm
podcast
sorry.
right now.
You just lost all of our viewers.
Sorry.
All right, what's your
All right.
guess?
I think. Actually, this one's kind of hard.
I'm going with Uncle Jesse.
I feel like I should pick that too because you're
No,
picking it
go
'cause it
with your
makes more
gut. Your gut
sense.
was the Kenya one.
Yeah, I think Kenya's the lie.
Damn, it was Uncle Jesse.
Was it?
That was good.
dang, you
That was
got
good.
it.
I thought maybe
Okay.
if I was very elaborate, that it would make it seem more real, but
Well, I was just thinking you could maybe you did that, but with somebody else, not him.
no.
Oh.
I was like, who's the most random celebrity? John
was good,
Stamos.
though.
That was very good.
So, I mean, so normally people do like talk about what they've done project-wise, because then we get into talking about you.
Yeah, but we could talk about you getting robbed.
I was
That's
gonna
fine.
say, so I don't know how to lead that in. Were you
Why was I in
anything?
Kenya?
Yeah, why
What's
were you
going
in
on?
Kenya? Were you
Yeah.
filming something before you got robbed?
Yeah, so it was basically like a nonprofit that helped build schools out there that basically when I first started traveling, I had no money and I just messaged as many people as I could humanly find to go and like, hey, pay for my ticket, pay for where I'm staying, and I'll travel, I'll make a video for you. And this was just one of those, I think this one was like a friend to a friend who had this charity, and I was like, hey, if you guys need a video, fly me out to Kenya, I'll make a little video about it and put me up. And they flew me out, put me up for 3 weeks, and I got to
Nice.
run
Yeah, that's
around
nice.
Kenya and make a video. And this was when I was 23, like just starting out, had no idea what to do, but I knew if I had my camera and if I hit up enough people, I'm like, just pay for my flights and where I'm staying. Like I'll even cover my own food, and that's fine. And I'll make whatever video you want, just to do whatever I could to travel.
Nice.
That's what I
Good
did.
experience.
Yeah.
That's
I
a
know.
great way to start. So, when you first started your career, were you always doing YouTube, or did you start as a filmmaker and then it moved into YouTube?
Oh
What's
yeah,
like
I didn't do YouTube for a while until, well, I had videos on YouTube, but I wasn't like a YouTuber, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah.
So I've put up videos on YouTube since like 2012, but it wasn't like I didn't have an audience until like 2019 or so.
Okay.
An
Oh, that's pretty recent.
An
Yeah.
audience beyond like my friends and like my immediate group.
Yeah.
Those are the people that would watch my YouTube videos. And then when I graduated, I went to UC Davis, and I graduated in 2016. And
What did you study?
I studied digital media.
Okay.
But if you're familiar with UC Davis, it is an agricultural science school.
Oh.
It is not a spot to go and study digital media. There were like 40 people in my major. But when I graduated, I knew I wanted to travel, and I knew I wanted to do that kind of stuff. And so I started hitting people up, and eventually I met Luke Jackson Clark, one of my best friends, and we started a company together called Move to Create. And we figured out I was 23, I was 22 and he was 18 when we met.
Okay.
We started the
wow.
company at 23 and 19
Wow.
because we were so young and people didn't take us seriously. So we're like, well, let's start a company instead of like dealing with Sam Newton Media or Luke Jackson Clark Photography. You'll deal with Move to Create, which seems like a bigger entity. And we did that. And then I had my production company for about 3 years. And then the good old Pandemic Lovato hit. And we went into lockdown. And that's when I kind of really made the shift into like, okay, YouTube's something I should give a go. And things started taking off.
So initially, were you just creating videos for like what kind of videos were you shooting initially? Was it like for brands? Was it for like personal stuff? Like
Yeah, it was, our business model was like direct to consumer.
Okay.
Brands that had a product that could fit in a backpack. And so we'd hit up as many companies as possible, water bottle companies, backpacks, watches, anything that was small, wallets, anything that, we could pack a bunch of different brands into a bag and take them, because then our business model was basically like, hey, if we can get 10 of these companies to pay us $500 for random photos and videos, that's $5,000. That pays for both of our plane tickets and
Right.
a place to stay. And in Southeast Asia, it's so cheap. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, so we can go to Thailand for a month,
Maybe
do
like
this,
3.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then just make random shit for these companies. And that's kind of what we did. And when we started off, it was like 3 companies paying like $300, and then it was like 5 companies paying $500 and 10 companies paying $1,000. And then finally, like 2019, right before the pandemic hit, we had our first we had like a $25,000 project lined up, and it was like a big deal. And we were finally getting momentum, and then everything shut down. So we had to figure out a way to pivot, as a lot of people did.
I love the early day
I
hustle.
know, me too.
Like the hustle of the early creator days, like your first 2 to 3 years, it's so intense and difficult, but there's this like energy where like even a $500 gig, you're like
it's so much
worth
fun
making
too.
it.
Yeah.
Like, it's $500, let's go.
It's so satisfying. And like, not that what we do now isn't satisfying, but like there was something about when you started and you're chasing it and you finally start like tasting the feel of being a successful paid creator. It's like electrifying.
It is.
And there's no expectations too, which I think is the coolest thing.
Yeah.
Now it's like you put that pressure
That's
on
a good
yourself.
point.
Like people
Right.
have this expectation for you to deliver in a certain way. But like at the beginning, that's the biggest thing is there's
That's so
zero
true.
expectations. So not only zero expectations for you to go out and create, but zero expectations for like people that you meet. So the people that like want to hang out with you and fuck with your work, like they actually really like what you're doing, and not because you have a bunch of subscribers or followers. Those are the people that are like, well, you know, the real people. And now it's a little bit harder to weed that out because, you know, some
That's a
people
good
want to work
point.
with you because they really like your stuff, and other people are just like, oh, I know they've got numbers next to their name.
Right,
So
right.
I would say, which is a very like, I feel like it's a very unavoidable thing in this industry. Once you start to get followers, you kind of are like, are they with me because they're my friend? Like, are they with me because I can provide them value? Like, you kind of, like you said,
Right.
have to weave and figure out what's what. But like, so whenever you started your YouTube channel, well, I guess, let me take it back for a second. Have you always done filmmaking? Like, have you always used a camera? Like, how did that
I've
start?
always been very creative. So I used to
Okay.
make a lot of music, like growing up.
Oh, that's cool.
This
don't
all makes sense now.
I don't
I was
play
gonna say, I didn't
any
know that.
instruments. So when I say make music, it's like garage band beats. Like I'm very musically inclined, but I couldn't tell you any chords. I don't know anything. But like, give me a keyboard, and I can like be like, all right, those sound good together.
Right. Ooh,
And
that's
I
like Charlie Puth.
Yeah, except nothing like Charlie Puth. So Charlie Puth can like hear a car accident and be like, B minor.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, for me, it was like we just made these beats and made these stupid songs. And so I was always very creative growing up. And then I took my dad's GoPro with me to college. And that's what really like sparked. He bought a GoPro because I was a goalkeeper. And so he like filmed my games behind the net.
Oh,
so like
cute.
a POV version of me playing goalkeeper. And then I knew he wasn't going to use it at all. So I took it with me to college and I started making all these videos with my GoPro. And when you have a GoPro, you need to do cool shit.
Yeah.
And when you do cool shit, you have to edit it into a sick 2012 dubstep montage. And so I started doing that, and that picked up traction. And I realized once I quit soccer, which was my life, I played soccer like growing up my entire life, like 4 or 5 days a week. And then I quit that, and I had this void of like, well, I need something to do now. And then the camera came into my life at the perfect time, and yeah.
Wow.
I know.
So we were earlier watching your year in review
Yes.
video, your 2022.
We had to do our like initial like stalk and catch up with you before you came on our podcast.
And you said something really interesting that I want to dive in more because we want to talk about your personal branding. Is that you said, I'm not the best filmmaker, but if you create something that inspires people to go create, like that's kind of how you are able to form this branding about yourself. And so you say that you're not one of the best creators, but you work with the literal best creators, and you are at the same level as far as like success with some of our favorite creators. So how have you been able to take this platform and this work that you create and make it into even more than just like a good videographer? It's like a brand at this point. You've turned it into like, you are the brand,
Yeah.
not even your videos.
Well, thank you. I think when I say that, I mean, like, technically speaking, I'm not the best filmmaker. Like, I'm still shooting in auto white balance like 90% of the time. I'm still doing a lot of things that, you know, true cinematographers would cringe at. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, I really, really am a big advocate, especially with, you know, AI coming in and how quickly, you know, you see somebody on Instagram, you're like, wow, this is a dope video. And then it says in their bio, they're like 18. And you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
All these
Yeah.
new people coming in are so good because they're born and raised with a camera in their hand. So like
Yeah.
they know how to make really good videos. And so like there's always going to be someone better than you, right? There's always going to be someone more talented than you. There's always going to be, and I think so many creatives have this idea that they have to get to a certain level of like talent or skill and have to be so good at something in order to succeed. But like, you know, I'm a Canon USA ambassador, and you'd think they'd only want the most technically inclined people that can really bring out the best. But for me, it's like, I think what I do well that a lot of people could do better is just trying to peel back the curtain, showing a lot of like who I am on my channel and to the world, and like being as transparent and honest about that process. And then if you do that more and more, I think people really appreciate the final product so much more when they really have a connection. So I think that's kind of the biggest thing, is like not worrying so much about like having the sickest photos, having the sickest videos, but more so like being able to find a way to tell your story in whatever capacity, and just like share who you are with the world. Because it's as cliche as it sounds, it really is the only thing that you have that no one else does, is like your personality, your thoughts, your beliefs, how you act, and like people gravitate towards that. And if they like you, then they're going to watch more of your videos and have more of a connection with it. And if they don't, they can fuck off and go somewhere else and find someone else they like. That's the beauty of the internet.
That's so
Love
good.
it. I know.
So good. It's so true, because like sometimes you do see content that's like really beautiful and really well done, but you're not like necessarily emotionally connecting, versus like just hearing someone's story and relating can be way more powerful than like a technically perfect video or photo.
No, I think that's kind of where my first like taste of success was because in 2019 or 2018, that era, everybody was fanboying over Sam Colder and like making those transitions, like hype videos, and there's nothing wrong with those at all. But like I knew I wasn't like cool enough to make a video where I'm just like looking off in the distance and like looking cool. I was like, I guess a little too self-aware, where I'm like, I look like a dumbass. I don't like this. So I thought, well, why not lean into that and make a video that kind of makes fun of all these things? And once I started doing that, then it kind of opened this door of like, oh shit, you can do things differently. You don't have to see an industry and be like, this is how everybody does it.
Right.
This is how you, it's not like a formula where you're like, this is how you do it. This is how you get success. Do that and you're in. It's like you can see that and be like, all right, well, what's a different way around this? How can I swim around and figure out a different way to find success? And I started making fun of things, and that kind of ironically enough opened the door for me to actually get into that industry.
So you have like made fun of these big creators, and for people not on YouTube, like I'm using quotation marks, like you're not literally like hating on these people, but you have made like funny videos about Sam Colder or like Peter McKinnon, and then you've actually had those creators that notice you because of those videos. Like I remember when Peter McKinnon made a video about you making a video about Peter McKinnon.
That was cool.
Like it is such an interesting way of getting an industry's attention. What has been the feedback, or like what kind of how do I word this? Like what has been the response to you using the likeness of other people to open up a conversation about the industry?
Yeah, I mean, the two examples are basically Sam Colder and Peter McKinnon. They're basically strategic in a way where, I wanted to break into the travel scene. I'm like, all right, who's the guy? Sam Colder. Let's poke fun in a way. So the very first video, I don't think was making fun of Sam nearly as much as it was making fun of, in that time, there were so many Sam Colder knockoffs. So like Sam was still the guy, and like I was a huge Sam Colder fanboy, and like still am. I have so much respect for him, but there were so many just people making Sam Colder style videos. It was just the easiest person to knock off. And
I remember this trend, like where they would fly through the tent with the
oh
drone,
gosh,
all of that.
Everything about it was just so like predictable. But Sam, he always stayed one step ahead. Once people were like starting to copy him, he was already moving on, which is what I always admired. But I kind of like made fun of that. And for the most part, I think people understood the tongue-in-cheek element to it, where it was like, oh, this guy, we can turn a mirror to our industry and laugh. And I think people appreciate that when you can look, it's a very good quality if someone can turn the mirror on themselves and laugh, let alone just turn the mirror on the entire industry and be like, come on, guys, it's kind of dumb.
It's not
we love
serious.
it.
Yeah.
I do it. Everybody does it. It's fun, but it looks kind of stupid. Come on, let's be honest. And I did that, and there was a great response to that. And that's kind of what built the traction. And then I wanted to break into YouTube. And so I was like, who's the guy? Peter's the guy. Let's make a video, and again, another tongue-in-cheek video. And that time was even more like made sure to make sure.
Make sure to make sure.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
Made sure, it makes sense. Made sure to make sure that Peter knew it was like not serious.
So did you email him or something?
No,
or
but like the intro.
Like,
so that's why I do. For people who haven't seen it, it's basically I made a diss track about Peter McKinnon, but at the beginning, I do this thing where I like walk in on myself, and it's like a conversation me and myself. And what that did was basically open the door to show that like this was a joke, because I'm having a conversation. My like ridiculous side is having a conversation with my normal side, which is when you're creating things, you genuinely have those two voices of like somebody being like we should not do this.
And then the other was like, we should do, let's go. Yeah.
And so my ridiculous side comes in, knocks on the door, and he's like, we got to get some people's attention. Let's start calling out the big dogs. Like, and then the other one's like, no. We really love Peter. Like, why would we do that? We have so much respect. So it was kind of this.
Come up with like a clever
really
way to
meta
make fun of
way
him, but
to show him that like in reality,
you're
this
not
was a
being
joke.
serious. It's a joke.
Yeah.
And then, long story short, he shouted me out on his channel, and there's a great way to get a kickstart on your YouTube career when Peter McKinnon gives you the seal of approval. So that was incredible, and that opened so many doors for me. And it's just kind of a wild thing to look back on.
Are you guys friends? Like, do you guys like talk, or like, what's your relationship?
Friend,
with
we
Peter now?
haven't I have his phone number. I text, to the point where it's like saying friends is an odd word, because I could say we're friends, but in reality,
Peter's watching this. He's like, Sam, don't worry, we're friends.
No, I would say like we're friends in the way that like
You're
I could
homies.
easily text him and he'd respond, and like we could talk about things. It's like I don't like hit him up and be like,
Want to hang out?
The new Ford truck is out. What are your thoughts? Like, it's not quite on that level, but
Gonna go to Kava?
yeah, exactly. But he's out in Toronto, so it's kind of hard
What
to
about
make those kind of connections.
Colder, or did he have a response to like the content you made about him?
So that's kind of the interesting thing, right? Is Peter is a very like in front of the camera guy on his channel, so like his response was very like open, and Sam with all this stuff has been so cool. I think when you go about it in a way, because everybody I hope can tell that there was no malice in any of those, like it was all branding. It's all a way to like position myself in the industry, and they've both been insanely cool about it. And for the most part, I think the industry has taken it well. Nikon shooters don't tend to love me, but
Do they actually not?
no.
Like,
See, most people.
I feel like they know. Like, I feel like if
the
they use a
comments
Nikon,
are
like,
always
you know.
like, oh, I have a Nikon, I'm offended, but not really. It's like
it was a strategic thing of like, how can I like stir the pot a little bit? Like, just pick a random camera brand. Like, I don't give a shit about Nikon, or if you shoot on Nikon, I don't care. They're all great cameras. But I'm like, what if I just pick a random camera brand and shit on them?
Yeah.
And all that's gonna do is stir up, get people. But yeah, I'll still have people DMing me.
Do you think
like,
Nikon's mad?
Huh?
Do you think Nikon's like?
I mean, if anything,
Are they
it brought more
aware?
attention to them.
Do they know?
I
They've
don't know.
gotta
All I
know.
know is they make
Nikon, do you
billions
know?
of dollars a year,
Yeah,
and if someone like me is putting a dent in that, I seriously doubt it. But I think
I had somebody actually. Wait, you reminded me of something. This was like a couple years ago, or a year ago. I think I was at the beach.
You can't say they switched because of my video, because then
but
that's what they don't want to hear.
No. I remember somebody like brought out a Nikon, and it was kind of like that little like LA community friend group, and somebody brought a Nikon and they were like shaming them. They were like, bro, did you not see Newton's video? Like, what are you doing?
This is out. You can't bring this to our hangs anymore.
And I'm pretty sure he was like a new like person.
Oh
in
my
the
gosh,
group.
that's so sad. But, like,
And
that's
I was
so
like,
funny.
damn, I was like, they really took that Nikon video seriously. And then like literally you just see it with this Nikon, and they were like, bro.
But that's the thing. Some of the coolest creators that I know shoot with Nikon. I know Tim Kellner. He's a travel filmmaker.
Yeah.
This guy Pangea, who works out of Germany, shoots with Nikon and has some of the sickest stuff. So it's like everybody should know by now. It literally does not matter.
It's also not about the gear. We
Yeah,
always say on our podcast, like, does not matter what you're shooting on. You can take terrible photos
He's
on
like,
a great
"It is."
camera and vice versa. So it literally doesn't matter. But that is funny.
I have a question to go back to your personal brand. So you said that you were with Luke, right? You started your company. You were doing all kind of like direct consumer, and then COVID happened. You started YouTube. How did you manage the expectation between personal brand and like client work?
Yeah, well, I mean, when COVID happened, we're a travel production company, so we couldn't do the traveling element of that.
So you're like the client
And
work just ended.
Yeah, the client work, it kind of was like a hard line, which is such a weird thing to experience. Like obviously COVID was fucking wild for so many people in so many different ways. But like that's never gonna happen where it's like, oh yeah, everything that you are expecting is now done and now you have to pivot completely. But it was kind of best case scenario because Luke and I were like, all right, well, we can't work on our production company. Let's just focus on our personal brands. He focused on Instagram. I focus on YouTube. And I'm like, and then once things pick up, we can come back to the company and now we'll have bigger audiences to like share with our clients. And it just got to the point where like after a year of YouTube, I'm like, I don't think I want to go back to making client videos. YouTube's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
So what was like the transition between that? Because you went from like working for brands specifically, and then was your like, I'm assuming your YouTube wasn't like popping off the way it is now then. So like, what were you doing for money? Like, how are you making money?
Well, it was during COVID, so it was like I really didn't have a choice. I couldn't really do much. I couldn't go out and shoot like most people. Luckily, 2019 was a pretty decent year for our company, so I probably had like, in my bank account when COVID hit, like $7,000, and at the time I was paying cheap ass San Diego rent, like $900 a month. So like I had a solid runway, and I basically was like, all right, cool. I have these. Well, COVID hit, and I'm like, all right, I have 3 months or however long it's going to be to just let's edit some videos. And the cool thing about it is I had all these clips from me traveling from around the world from the commercials that we did. And I'm like, well, what if I just took those clips and made them into personal travel videos? And I did that. And then I made, at the time the pandemic hit, I had like 18,000 subscribers.
Okay.
So I already
still had a little bit of a base.
had some momentum because of that. My first big My Year video that came out gave me a lot of traction.
Was that 2018 or 2019?
That was My Year 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
was this before or after Peter and Sam videos?
that was the Sam video. That was the My Year 2018 video was the making fun of the industry one.
Got it. Okay.
And that one did very well. And then that same year in 2019. So 2019 was the year things really started. 2019 was the year things really started picking up. And after that, basically what I did was I was like, all right, I have all this footage and I have all of this stuff, and why not try YouTube? And I had 20,000 subscribers. I made a couple songs. I made a couple like travel films, and everyone was sitting on their laptop, and basically they blew up. And I was like, all right, cool. Let's try YouTube a little bit more seriously.
So it was kind of like a perfect, like, not that there's ever a perfect time for a pandemic, but like you were in a cozy place where like you already had the base, you already had some like money to like live off of during the pandemic. We're not doing anything anyway, so not really spending money. So it was kind of like everything hit in like good timing.
Absolutely.
For you.
Perfect storm.
I want to talk about your loyal people. Your I don't know what you call them.
Team.
The cream team. Okay. Your fans, your family are obsessed with you. I have never seen fans who are so like, they're like your friends. Like the way people, like you post anything. You could literally post like a picture of like a pink square and people will be like, yes,
like the pink square.
So good.
Got
I
it.
love how like different this is. Your fans are obsessed with you. And it's so cool to see on like all the platforms how you've accumulated this family that's like very genuine and very authentic. And it feels like you talk to them directly in every video. It's not just like an abstract, like, well, I think everyone should do this. It's so specific to your people. How have you developed that, and how have you been able to gain this like incredibly loyal family around you?
Well, you kind of hit the nail on the head right at the end there where you say it seems like you're talking to them directly. It's my biggest piece of advice where people are like nervous in front of the camera, especially for YouTube, because it's one thing, this is easy where it's like talking, but if I'm turning right here, it's like another thing when you're in your room and you see the record button, you're like, shit. But if you think in your mind, like, don't talk to the potential thousands of people or hundreds of people that are going to watch it. Talk to the one person. Like, imagine you're making a video for one person. Like, pick a friend in your mind and make a video for that friend. And for me, it makes it so much easier to like sit down, talk through it, because you're like, oh, if I'm just talking to my one friend, if I'm just making a video for Claire, like it'll be so much easier to sit down, hit record, and be like, all right, so Claire, I was just in Vietnam, and let me tell you about it. That shit was crazy. And if you talk like a regular person in front of YouTube, people are gonna respect it a lot more. And I think there's an element of that. There's an element of like, I just try to make community a very, very big part of my channel. So it's like, constantly engaging with your audience in a way that's more than just like replying to comments or DMs, but in a way that, you know, we've done a bunch of collaboration videos where I've included my audience in the videos, and, you know, we've sold turtlenecks, and then with those turtlenecks, you know, you get, I think we've sold over 600 turtlenecks now, which is
that's
crazy.
so cool.
Yeah.
I have my own turtleneck.
There you go.
I love
Yeah,
that.
she was from the. Did I give it one to you after the potato
No.
video?
No.
Or did you
For
buy
my-
one?
No, my ex.
Did I? Oh.
Sensitive topic.
Oh, yeah, you
my
kept
ex
it.
got me a Sam Newton turtleneck.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh, I should have known. I should have worn
You
them
know
on
what it
this.
was? Is that Sam DM'd me? He's like, "Hey, like I have random extra like
Oh, yeah, I
turtlenecks.
tried
Do you
to
want
figure out
one?
your
What's
size."
your size?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, it's small." And then you're like, "Ha, just kidding, they're gone." I was like, "That's such a weird thing to like text me, but okay." Like,
That's so
glad
funny.
they sold out.
What a hilarious
We should
gift.
have worn them on this episode. That would have been so funny.
You show up, it's just us.
With the turtleneck to your video, you're like,
I thought that
being
was going to be the
bombarded.
surprise. They said they have a surprise. But I thought
We
that
do
was-
have a surprise.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, for me, I think, and I also just in a lot of my videos show a side of filmmaking that I think a lot of people don't really tend to get into when it comes to like making videos and talking about your journey as a filmmaker. And I try to open up more about things I'm going through and like things in my life that are, you know, very personal to me, and I want to talk about those in my videos. And you know, like I said at the beginning, you don't have to be the best filmmaker, but if you're just an honest person, people tend to gravitate towards that. And it's been a very long, it wasn't something where I clicked record and I'm like, I'm a YouTuber, I'm good at this kind of stuff now, where it's like took a very long time to become comfortable. But I think people, you know, even if you're nervous on camera, people can see that your intentions are real and they're genuine. And if they are, then, you know, you can start building a community that really, really shows up. And I'm so stoked to have the people that watch my videos watch my videos. So
Shout out to Sam's creamy team.
Creamy team.
Yeah. Do you filter yourself at all, or like do you ever like re-record multiple things, or do you just kind of like one shot go? Like
yeah. I'm not quite Casey Neistat level where like
Is that what he does?
Yeah, he apparently during his like one vlog for 3 years straight or whatever, he had a rule for himself, like hit record, one take. That's
Wow.
it. Never redoing.
What's like something that you do whenever you record that you're like, oh, I did it again. Like, stop doing that.
Sometimes I tend to ramble, and that's the biggest thing. YouTube, you want to keep it short, and so
Yeah.
I'll tend to ramble, or like I'll end my video and I'll look at it's like 3 minutes of me like from the point where I'm like, all right, thanks for watching, and then 3 minutes later I'm like, fuck, how am I still talking? That's the biggest thing, but yeah. I think it just takes a lot of time to really get that down. So for the most part, I think I've gotten it down pretty solid where I can feel pretty natural. But just like anybody, I have my days where you show up, you hit record, and I'm like, fuck, what am I doing?
I think I
I'm
watched
not
a
in the
video of
mood.
you were like, this is like the 7th time
Yeah.
I've tried to record this.
Oh, it happens all the time. But you know, some days you sit in front of the camera and you're like, I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
This is what I do. I'm the best.
Like,
and then
hype.
other days you sit and it's just record. And then by the 8th, you become so numb to what you're watching. You're like, I don't know if this is good or not. But eventually you just have to like, again, if you have good intentions and the message is there, then that practice is going to help so much.
Have you ever struggled with self-doubt with your videos and watching them?
Oh, all the time.
How do you like, what advice or how do you handle that?
Just by doing it, right? It's like you can doubt yourself as much as possible, but at the end of the day, people don't care nearly as much as you think they care.
a
And
good point.
you know, even if they are judging you, it's like, and that's it. That's the extent of it all. Or it's like, wow, Sam looks kind of dumb in that video. All right, what am I going to eat today? You know, that's how
that's
fast
true.
they would, if they are judging you, that's how
Yeah.
quickly they're judging you. So it doesn't really matter that much. And like, I would like to think I'm a sign that if you fight past those awkward stages, and in some of my videos, I've showed like early, like you guys watched the recent My Year video, you saw me as a freshman talking to my GoPro. It's the cringiest thing you've ever seen in your life. But once you get past that, like, oh, I can't do it. Like the only way you're ever going to be good at anything, you know, surfing, guitar, it's like you're going to suck.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you have to like suck a lot of times to really get to a point where you're good at it. And that's kind of the only way to get past self-doubt. But like, even now I'm human, I'm normal. There's so many times where I post a video, I'm like, fuck, I don't know if that was that good. Or like I'll post a video that means a lot to me and it won't do that well. I'm
Yeah,
like, damn it.
yeah.
my run's over, or I'll post a video that as a brand deal that I'm like really stoked on working with this company, and that didn't perform well. I'm like, shit, it's done. Or I'll the opposite end is like I'll post a video that I think's all right, kind of rushed it, whatever. I just want to get this out, post it, and it blows up. I'm like, I don't understand anything.
Yeah. So relatable.
So yeah, it's really hard, but the only way to get past it is to get through it. And so just doing.
I love that.
Do you ever get hate comments? I've never seen a single negative thing ever said about you, so I'm curious.
I mean, just being life on the internet, you get hate. You know, I've gotten plenty of DMs that are, shitty that I would like to be like, oh, damn.
No.
You're like, oh, you're like, what if I hug you?
I've gotten really bad comments too. Just like anything.
Really?
It's impossible not to, but for the most part, 99% of it is my community's insanely amazing. The photography, filmmaking community in general is just really supportive, and people love.
It really is.
It's a cool meta kind of industry because you watch people, every other industry on YouTube, makeup or, if you're into cars, you're watching a specific niche that's like away from the creation of the video. But in our industry, it's like we're watching somebody creating a video about creating videos, and the people watching it also create videos. So it's a weird meta, multi-layered.
Yeah.
But in that comes a lot of like.
That would be a cool new idea for your next video.
Just super meta.
The super inception of the creative industry.
Of the camera.
Yeah, Jesus. With that comes, I think, a lot of support from a lot of different people, and people want to see creative things because it inspires them.
Yeah.
And if you see something very creative that inspires you, the first thing you want to do is like, oh shit, you look at your camera, you're like, I need to go make something. I need to plan something. And that's kind of my main goal with my channel, is to make things where when you're done watching a Sam Newton video, I really want you to feel something real. I really want you to feel something like, oh shit, that feeling of like, I want to go do something. I want to go make something. And that's kind of my ultimate goal. If I can really actually and tangibly inspire people to go make things. Because to me, that's kind of the coolest thing about what we do. And like in a world where I could very easily do a lot of like gear reviews or like 5-tip videos, which I still do that kind of stuff. But like 99% of my stuff, I'm trying to make you walk away with like a real feeling, whether it's like genuine laughter or genuine inspiration.
We're really good with the emotional.
Yeah, and that's kind of like if I start there with my videos, if I start with like, how can I make sure somebody is like moved in some way, shape, or form, then I know I have something.
When you are conceptualizing your videos, do you keep like are you creating the video for your audience or for yourself? Like, do you ever just make a video about a subject where you're like, oh, I just really want to make something about lighting? Or is it like a lot of people have asked me about how I light my videos, so I'm going to make a video about lighting? Or is it like 50-50?
What determines that thought process?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say like 50-50 probably. Like some videos I know I'm making it because I'm like, all right, cool. Either my audience would want this, or like this is something, I'm a YouTuber. I have to pay the bills. I have to keep moving things forward. So like might have a concept where I'm like, all right, this is something that could perform well. Like my office tour video stuff is like those crush. They do really well because I spend a lot of time focusing on my office. If I wasn't on YouTube, I don't think I would have spent as much time making my office look as good as it does. But I'm like, all right, if I make my office look really good, people love office tour videos. And so that's kind of like one of those ways. But for the most part, it's like I always give people this advice of, make something that, regardless of the views, it sounds dumb, it sounds like, oh, I know, but regardless of the views, make something that you in 10 years would want to look back on and be like, fuck yeah, that was dope. I'm so happy I made that. Because you can have a video, and I have plenty of videos. I made a video called like why you don't need a gimbal, and it was just me talking about why I don't think gimbals are that important. And it blew up. It got like 60-something thousand views, and I was like, what the fuck, why is this popping off the way it does? But like, that same thing in 10 years, I'm not going to look back on that video and be like, 65K views, let's fucking go. Mom, check out this video I made back in 2020. But instead, like, it's going to be the other way around. Like, you might have a video that only gets 200 views, but it's about your grandma. And then in 10 years, you're going to play it back and be like, fuck, that was good, man. That was something I'm proud of. So that's the kind of shit where, like, you don't always have to make those videos, but if every once in a while you make sure, like, all right, I'm paying the bills. All right, now what's something I can make for me? Where regardless of like how it does, it's just going to fuel me as an artist. And if you do that and have those little checkpoints with yourself, I think it's the easiest way to like really build long-term success and not burn out.
Oof, this is gold.
I know, this is great.
Listeners.
Okay, so
time for a segment.
I was gonna say,
have we named this? We haven't named
I
this.
named it,
Oh,
don't
you named
worry.
it. Okay. Ooh, she named it.
So I think this is a great way to segue you saying fueling you as an artist. I feel like this next segment we have will really fuel you as an artist. It's called.
Oh, fuel. You said fuel.
Yeah,
You
fuel.
said fuel.
Oh, fuel. Sorry,
Really
that's
feel
like my
this next segment will really feel you as an artist.
Fueling you as an artist. It's like
Jay, get on over here.
I know. my vowels sometimes go together. It's like my Pittsburghese accent. Fuel you as an artist. Fuel you as an artist. All right. So this next segment is called Pick Your Potato.
Wait, that's so good. She didn't tell me about this.
Okay. So basically, hang on.
Wait.
Here, close your eyes really quick.
You guys need to watch this on YouTube. If you're listening, just go to YouTube and watch what George
Here,
is
move
doing.
your coffee. Close your eyes.
Can't see.
Okay, good.
Pick your potato. I can make a little jingle.
Yeah, no, we'll add a
Ooh,
jingle.
can you make us a jingle?
Pick your potato.
Pick your potato. Boom.
It's potato picking time.
Hey.
Pick your potato.
Idaho potato.
Time to pick your potato.
Okay, you can look
Okay,
now.
now welcome. Okay, you can open your eyes.
All right. Oh shit. They're real ass potatoes.
We have some potatoes for you.
Okay, so basically, wait, let me get the questions up really quick.
Every potato has a number, which has a question assigned to it, and some of them are a little risky.
Yes.
Some of them are a little like normal,
So
whatever.
you're gonna pick. So there's 7 potatoes. You're gonna pick 4, and some of them have some chill questions. Some of them have some risky questions.
Okay.
2 of them are a dare.
Okay.
So
pick your potato.
Do I have to pick all of them? Like
No, no,
eventually-
no.
all right.
You just pick
How many
which-
potatoes? Am
just
I
pick
just
one
picking
at a
one
time.
potato?
let
Yeah.
me like
Yeah, but how many
shuffle 'em.
total do I pick?
4.
4.
4 out of the 7. All right.
Yes. Okay.
I really hope he picks good ones.
Does everyone, for future reference, is everyone going to do potatoes or are you going to do different
No,
objects?
this
first?
is for you.
Oh, this is
The segment
Yeah.
is only. This is a
Yeah.
one-time segment. Well, you'll
Actually,
never see
yes.
a segment ever.
Wait,
Wait,
again.
before you pick it,
All
let
right.
me give a little bit more background. So, because Sam has a video about his Nikon, I don't know if you saw it, but he puts the Nikon on a potato, so he kind of became known like for potato shooting. That's a horrible way to put it. But Claire was one of the people who held the potato.
Well, she was
Yeah.
the star.
She was the star.
Potato star.
She was the potato girl. So I felt like this
Lady
segment, this is a
right.
one-time only segment just for you.
All right, let's do it.
Pick your potato, Sam Newton.
Pick your potato.
Okay. What's it say?
Risky.
Ooh.
That's it.
What's the
Oh,
number?
number 1.
Okay,
I think.
risky number 1. Yay!
Yay! Very good.
Okay. What's the most outrageous rumor you've heard about yourself as a creator?
Whoa, outrageous rumor I've heard about myself. So I'm a Canon ambassador now.
Okay.
And I got a yeah. This is kind of a good one.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's a rumor as much as like one person on the internet like digging way too deep into things.
Okay, no, this is good, though.
This guy sent me a DM that was like a multi-paragraph DM about how he thought I was like an industry plant from Canon, like trying to bash the Nikon brand.
Paid by Canon.
Which I thought was funny. I'm like, bro, go touch some grass. You're digging way too deep into this, man. That was probably the wildest where I just woke up on one day and he's like, I know, you know, I'm pretty sure that you've been working with Canon this whole time.
Like a
that you're here.
conspiracy theory.
Yeah, conspiring against that. I'm like, Jesus. Nope. Not at all. I started working with Canon after the whole Nikon thing, so
That's
swing
so
and a miss
funny.
on that. But yeah, I'm not.
That's good.
I'm not an industry plant.
I like that you said go touch some grass.
Like you're not even a content creator. Just the whole time your videos have been alluding to the fact that Nikon fucking Canon is better.
There was a couple like blogs written about the Nikon video, and in the comment section of those blogs that have no idea who I am, it's all just like 60-year-old dads just ripping me apart.
Really?
Oh my god! And I'm just like, did none of you just think it's a little funny? Did none of you? And it's just they're so angry. I'm like, all right, well, guess I did my job there.
That's funny. Okay, next potato.
All right,
Next potato.
potato time.
Ooh, I like that.
Chill one.
Okay, chill 1.
I'm a chill one.
What's your go-to editing song?
Go-to editing song? Okay, so I wouldn't say editing song like while I'm actually editing as much as like what
Or like
I
your
love
ritual.
music that like just gets me stoked. Like drink a cup of coffee and I'm like, all right, let's go. Runaway to Mars by Talk is a song that like, you know, there's a few selection of songs that when you listen to, you just feel like alive and you feel, and like how I always talk about
Like it's
how
good
I want,
soul, like soul
how
food.
I want to feel like my videos to actually have real emotion in them. It's like, so if you drink a cup of coffee and you listen to like that and then Coldplay live in Buenos Aires. If you've never
I was
listened
supposed
to
to go to that.
Oh, really?
To the
Yes.
actual in Buenos Aires?
Yeah, because I
Holy
was
shit.
working with a hotel over there, but like just didn't work out, and I'm gonna go again this summer. But I was supposed to go to that, and I was so
Is
upset.
it a recent?
It's an album.
Show?
No, it's from like 2019 or something.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
it's a full album that they released, and it is. If you like Coldplay, it is chills because not only do you hear like Chris Martin singing when you know their songs are all big and majestical, is that a word? They're all just big music, but then you have 100,000 people singing behind it, and so if you just need some inspiration and you listen to that album, it's just full body chills. It's
we should
amazing.
add like a little snippet right now.
I
like-
definitely am gonna go listen to this. Sounds amazing.
Okay, next potato, but this time pick it with your eyes closed to make it more like risky.
As if you just one
Yeah,
potato.
to make it more risky. Oh, to make it more chill.
Oh man,
Should have just made them all risky and
I know. Okay, what number is that?
chill.
2.
2?
All right, favorite movie as a kid.
Favorite movie as a kid?
I feel like your favorite movie is like Home Alone or something.
Yeah.
Like
gives me
how
Sam
young
vibes.
of a kid are we talking about?
Maybe like 11 years
Oh,
old.
okay, so I would say I loved Superbad so much when
Oh.
I was in like high school. Euro Trip. Have you ever seen Euro
heard
Trip?
of that.
No.
It's like a 2003 comedy about this guy who goes out. I'm gonna be completely honest. I was 12 years old, and there's a scene with a girl who has boobs in it, and me and my friends would go to it when my parents were home. Like, dude, at like an hour and 15 minutes, you see some boobs. It's just one of those 12-year-old boy things. But that
It's one of
movie
those
was one of the
12-year-old
first
boy
like
things.
raunchy comedy movies that I watched, and I'm like, this is pretty funny. I'm sure I haven't watched it in like a very long time. I'm sure if I watched it back, it wouldn't be nearly as funny. But when I was like
I'm gonna watch it.
12 and had a 12-year-old boy type of humor, that was a movie that I watched a lot. And not just because of the boobs, but just want to give that
That's
disclaimer,
funny.
all
I
right?
feel like it would be even funnier now as an adult because you're like, this is so dumb. This is
Probably.
hilarious.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, next potato.
All right.
Next potato.
Oh, risky business. Risky
Yay.
2.
Risky 2. Let me see. What's the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to you while creating content?
While creating
Ooh, I
content.
like this.
Most embarrassing.
Get deep with it. Like we want to know, like super embarrassing.
This might be one where we have to pause for a second while I think.
Okay,
Most-
that's fine.
Okay, I got a good one.
Okay.
And I have a video on my channel called what is it called? It's called 4 Songs for Filmmakers No One Asked For.
Okay.
And they're basically like a bunch of like 30-second songs. Have you guys heard Naughty Film Boy? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that song came from that video, essentially, where I was like testing these songs to see what people's reactions to what
Okay.
would be my next song. And one of them, which wasn't actually going to be a real song, for people who don't know me, they're watching this, they're going to get a real insight for the type of guy I am. One of the songs was just kind of like, for the jokes, was called "Put Your Camera in My Ass." And basically,
Oh my gosh. Wait, this
Jay's
would've been
off camera diner.
This would have been our podcast name. Almost was 2 girls, 1 camera.
It was not almost that.
What?
It was Jack's idea, and I immediately was like, no.
2 girls, 1 lens.
Yeah, 2 girls, 1 lens, but this would have been okay. Keep going. Camera in your ass.
But keep going. But it was basically this part, like the whole concept of the video was like the crazy side of me pitching the normal side of me different songs.
Okay.
Where I'm like, what about this song? And I'm like, dude, we can't do that. What about this song? And then it's like a 10-second song where I'm like, put your camera in my ass. And then immediately like, the other guy cuts it off. He's like, stop. No, we're not doing that. But to make that, like I had to basically take my pants off for the video and like roll up my underwear so it looked like I was basically naked so they can blur out my ass. This is gold.
This is great.
And
Oh my gosh.
while we were filming it, it was at this venue in LA. And
Oh,
there
you
was-
were filming with a team.
with a team. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, so everybody was watching
There's
you pretend to put this camera up your ass.
3 people on set. But like there were people on set that I knew, like 2 of them were like close friends, and the other one was like someone I didn't know that well, but they knew who I was on the internet, so I'm like, fuck it, I don't care. But what was weird and embarrassing about it was there was a set manager who just worked and was supposed to like just keep an eye on set while we're shooting all this, and he was off like in the corner the entire time we're shooting. I kid you not, like I drop my pants, roll on my underwear, and then the song starts playing in the background while we film, and I'm like, put your camera in my ass. Right as this guy, good looking 6'2" black guy, turns the corner and just like looks over, and I'm like, it's not a real song, man, it's a joke, I swear to God. And he was just like, all right,
He's like,
if you guys need anything, I'll be over here. And he walked away. I was like, fuck, that was bad. So
He's like, just white boy shit.
Yeah, literally. Dude, that's
pretty
funny.
funny.
It's so funny. It's just giving me like rectal check vibes. Like
What?
camera in my
Wait,
ass.
what?
When you go to the doctor and they put a camera up your ass and check like your esophagus
well,
or
yeah,
something.
there was a
Colonoscopy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard someone say rectal
Rectal
check
check.
Is that what it's
vibes.
called?
Rectal check.
Rectal check.
Rectal check with Sam Newton.
Rectal.
Check that.
That's the title of this episode is rectal check.
Check the ass with Sam Newton.
Rectal.
All right,
Oh
Okay,
my
anyways,
gosh.
next
Okay.
potato.
Risky one dare.
Yay!
Oh, good.
Okay, dare. Pull up an archived photo from your Instagram account that is at least 3 years old.
Okay, so a photo. All right, I got one.
Okay.
I'm gonna do my personal account instead of my video one.
Ooh,
but
yay.
this will get a couple laughs.
Okay.
And there's
No
way. Wait.
And horizontal.
That's so good.
That's funny. Here, point to the camera.
That is so good. You guys need to go to YouTube. It's a picture of how old were you?
seventh grade Sam.
7th grade. He's pulling his shirt up,
Flexing.
holding like a camera in a mirror,
And
flexing. Super serious
no,
face.
no emotion on my face
No,
at all.
super serious.
Just like this is what life is about. It's
Super
my abs
bro.
as an 11-year-old. So
Was that after you watched Euro Trip?
it's time to get jacked.
That's so
That
good.
is good. Okay, 2 more potatoes.
Potato.
We'll do them fast.
Trooper, he knows.
All right, risky dare number 2.
All right, risky dare number 2 is you have to call one of your best friends and ask for an embarrassing story about you.
Okay, I can do that. Hold on. I can call my childhood best friend and he can tell me just.
Yeah, do that.
All right.
Okay, put your phone up. Put him up to the mic. I feel like we're on like Dr. Phil or something right now.
I'll just have him tell an embarrassing story about me.
Okay.
Yo, you got a sec?
Yeah.
I'm on a podcast right now, and they asked me to call my best friend for what we're now going to say is an embarrassing story about me. So you have the stage.
An embarrassing story about Sam. Trying to think of an appropriate one.
No, it can be inappropriate.
No,
You could tell the wedding one.
the wedding one? Okay. So, what was this? When Sam graduated college, still very good friends with his ex-girlfriend. She had, after they had broke up, she had gotten a girlfriend. And so we're all at their wedding, which is kind of just a party at this house in Stockton, big backyard. Well, anyways, for Sam, probably, a little odd to be at someone that you were once kind of in love with at their wedding.
My ex-girlfriend's wedding to a woman. Yeah.
That happened to me. I dated somebody and then they're gay now.
Yeah.
Jay's like, shut up.
It happens to the best of us.
Jay's like, shut up, Georgia.
Yeah. So at the end, there's a dance floor. Everyone's dancing. By this time, Sam's had probably 1 or 2 too many drinks. So he's kind of just walking around, dancing with everyone, hitting on girls. And he thinks that the best way to pick up on a girl at this wedding would be offer them a piggyback ride. So he I don't know which number piggyback ride this was, 1, 2, or 3. But anyways, he's giving a girl a piggyback ride. She's like, no, I don't think this is a good idea. He's like, no, it'll be fine. Trust me, it's going to be fun. Anyways, so she jumps on Sam's back. A couple minutes later, you hear a girl scream. You look over, and both of them had fell onto the ground. while Sam had face planted onto the ground and scraped the whole entire side of his face.
Split my forehead open.
Oh my god.
Busted her lip. And
No.
went home from my ex-girlfriend's wedding. A sad, bloody man.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That is
Okay,
so funny.
thank you.
Also, the context for that is hilarious.
I know.
Thank you, Sam's best friend.
Thank you, Sam's friend.
Love you, Doc.
Love you too.
Bye.
I'm dead at your ex-girlfriend's wedding who's married to a woman.
Yeah, there you go. There's it.
Word. Oh my gosh, that's so good.
I love
Also,
this.
piggyback rides, like Sam's way of flirting.
still-
It's fun. I get on my back for a piggyback
Okay, I
ride.
was 23 and
I mean,
So
still.
weird.
and fucked up. It wasn't like I was there. He made it sound like I was running around the party like, "Hey girls,
Like, hey,
get on my back." Yeah, come on. No, I was like drunk and I'm like, hey. I was like, you want a piggyback ride? I'm like, yeah. I think a lot. Like, I gave one girl a piggyback ride and the next one's like, he made it sound like she was like, no, this is a bad idea. That wasn't it. She was all about it. All about
Okay,
it.
I'm
And
sure.
I
jumped,
want a piggyback
jumped,
ride.
Yeah.
slipped. I could send you a photo if you want, but basically,
Yes, send us a
face
photo. We'll
planted.
insert it here.
It's graphic photo.
That
It looks
is
like I was
so
in a
funny.
murder scene.
Oh no.
And I still have a scar on my forehead to this
Oh,
day.
really?
You see it?
Oh,
Yeah.
you do have
No
it.
way.
Piggyback ride.
Do you ever like
good
send her a
story.
picture of it and say thinking of you?
I haven't talked to that girl since that day. For obvious reasons.
So
funny.
good.
All right. Next
tater.
and last final potato.
Last tater time. All right, chill 3.
Okay. What's your favorite country you've ever been to?
First answer always is Iceland. Is like
I
the first
love
one.
Iceland.
Iceland's
That's
the
my
greatest
favorite
place
place.
ever. It's just very expensive. I'd say
Yes.
Iceland, Vietnam, and Costa Rica, depending on like what I really want and what I want to go for. Vietnam is insanely cheap. It is just such a wild country to go to. Like if you want to feel like you're out there, it's really easy to travel. I'd say Vietnam, and then Iceland is just every place you go is a different world within
I feel like it's
a world.
like a photographer's playground. That's what I
it's
always
insane.
say.
So
Nice.
Love that.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so
One last question before we wrap up this lovely interview with what's your always nickname, Cream Man or
Green Man, call me Green Man. No one calls me Green Man, but you can.
what's
I don't have I say stay creamy. They don't call me any kind of cream nickname.
you Cream Man.
Cream Man. This has been a fun one.
Wait, this could be like the outrageous rumor that you get called Cream Man.
I'm starting the rumor today.
Okay, ask the question.
Let's end this interview with some of the best advice you've ever received, and in turn, the best or your go-to advice for any new creator.
I know what my advice for a creator would be for sure. Best advice I've ever received is probably, it's gonna be a pretty basic one in terms of just like, my grandma always said, put one foot in front of the other and just keep on going. And like for anything in life, it's kind of all you can really do, whether you're in I think it's a good way to think of life in terms of like, whether you're in the best place in life or the worst place in life. Like if you're in the best place in life, you have to make sure to not take that for granted, but also not just like stop and be like, cool, I did it. But like keep moving, keep improving, always find different ways to better yourself. And then it's the same way if things are shitty, the only way to really get out of it is just one little thing at a time. And then my advice to creators, what I always say, the videos that you want to get paid to make, you have to make those videos now. So you have to make the videos that you really love in order to get paid to make the videos that you really love, if that makes sense. So make sure to always set aside time where you can actually make a video or 2 or 3 that really means something to you. And if you really want to go somewhere in an industry, you have to make those kind of videos in that industry. So if you want to be a film or a music video director, you have to make a music video. If you want to be a travel filmmaker, you have to make a travel film. You have to do that far before you've ever been paid to do that. So
That's good.
Love it.
Words of wisdom from Cream Man.
Cream Man.
cream time.
Well, with that, thank you so much for coming
Yes,
on.
thank you. You
This
are
was so
absolutely
good.
inspiring.
This is a great conversation.
This is a fun one.
It
You
was
guys
super
have
fun.
a good setup here.
You like
I like
it?
it. Great dynamic.
We're trying.
You get to take the potatoes home with
Thank you. I was
You can have
hoping.
your taters.
souvenir.
I was hoping.
We'll sign them for you.
Yeah, don't worry.
With that, thank you guys for coming to another episode of Shoot Your Shot. You can find us on all social platforms. Please leave us a rate and review, especially on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. A little subscribe, like, comment on YouTube would go super far. And as always, if you're fucking with our episodes, send them to your friends, send them to your mom, send them to your like group chats, all the things.
Send them to the cream community this one.
Cream yourself all the time. Sam, so.
Don't cream yourself.
I mean, like, if you want to, you can.
I mean, do whatever you want.
After the podcast is over.
I know. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyways, thank you again for coming. We'll see you on the next episode of
Bye,
Shoot Your
guys.
Shot.
Thank you, Sam.